So I spent the last 3 years going full-time on crypto. It's been my number one thing. I've done nothing but research through the bear market. We haven't even had the banana zone yet. I haven't even cashed in on that 4th year, which I'm really looking forward to because apparently it's coming over the next few months. But over those 3 years, I learned some crazy things. And I wanted to save you that 3 years, give you the crunchy insights, the 3 crunchy insights in this video that I believe will allow both me and you to cash in on these next few months that are about to go parabolic in crypto. Because once you dig below the surface in crypto, it looks very different to what you would assume from the outside. So if you appreciate the effort, hit that like button down below for me. Let's not waste time. We don't fluff around on this channel. We get straight to business. Let's jump in. Talk about not fluffing around. When I was around in 2021, I thought crypto was based on utility and fundamentals. So me and my brother, Twilly55, the lead researcher inside the Inner Circle, literally lined up the top 1,000 crypto coins by market cap and individually ranked them based on the team, the tokenomics, the tech, the narrative, the competitive edge they have, and how unrealized that token was. We gave them a score, we plotted them on a graph against one another, and we waited for the bull market to come, putting our money in the ones that had the best fundamentals. And we found tokens like this, Rollbit, which is still, I think, fundamentally one of the best tokens. They're literally burning, if not tens of millions of dollars every single month of their crypto based on their users' fees. Rollbit is I think the second biggest online casino, the biggest online casino that has their own token. They're currently valued at $150 million market cap. And when you have a token like this that's actually making profits, actually has hundreds of thousands of daily active users, burning millions of dollars a month in their actual value, giving that back to their token holders, you're like, wow, this is really a no-brainer. And you can see they actually held out really well over the last year or so, despite the massive pullbacks in the market. But this would obviously rank extremely high because there's very few, maybe a handful of tokens in the whole crypto space that do this. However, then you have other tokens. Now, I'm going to talk about Desync. Desync, I actually think, is fundamentally a fantastic token, but it makes the point that I'm trying to make at the same time because there's a lot of tokens that aren't fantastic like Desync that have had these crazy results. Coming onto the market, obviously, at about 1 cent, skyrocketing up to 50 cents. Why? Well, because it had a really strong narrative, the AI narrative, and really strong influencers, people like Alex Becker, people like CryptoGodJohn, the wealth group boys behind it saying that this is the next big thing. And I learned that fundamentals, technical analysis are really hard to hit 100x's on. What you want is social arbitrage. You want to know which tokens do the biggest influencers like and are going to be pushing to their audiences. And the more we go on in the market, the more you see this is possible. I'll give you some more examples in this video, but I wanted to zoom out once again just a little bit. This is Bitcoin. You can see it looking like an absolutely beautiful graph all the way up to 105,000 US dollars per token today. Rumor is this is going to land somewhere between 150 and 444 by the end of this cycle, which I'm very excited for. But the reason Bitcoin goes up is because it's a liquidity for the global money supply. Lots of countries around the world print money, or people are creating debt, whether they're mortgaging their houses or raising debt through businesses like MicroStrategy, and they're buying the scarcest asset. It is a sponge. So this thing continues to go up and to the right. And what happens next is you go from Bitcoin season, which is, I believe, down here in the bottom, and then the liquidity starts flowing into the altcoins. This was the altcoin massive bull run where people made tens of millions of dollars in 2021. And you can see it goes up and down between people making a lot of money in Bitcoin and then being like, okay, how do we 10x the money we just made in Bitcoin? Well, we'll take it over to the smaller market cap alts and buy in there. But which alts do you buy? Like, how does anyone get a recommendation for an altcoin? Honestly, I think there's only one way. It's someone has to tell you about it, whether that's digitally or in person. And most of it is going to be happening on YouTube, like channels like this, or on X, or maybe even in Telegram or Discord groups. But either way, it's all social narrative. Someone has to tell you about the next token that is going to blow up. And as we ascend into altcoin season, if we look at the history of which assets performed really well, you will see that it's essentially the ones that had the biggest influences behind them. This was back in 2021 when we were tracking Gary V, who is massive into NFTs. He launched a $50 million collection himself, but he would find understated artists who are making NFT projects and promote them, saying this is going to be an awesome project. And it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. Gary's like, this is the next evolution in art. Let's promote small artists whose art that he liked, who are offering some form of utility with the token. And you can see, I put a chart up here, but the easiest way to see it is down here in this column. The average return on a Gary V recommendation was 13x on your money after 3 months. And if you have a look at all the other NFTs, they do not average anything near this. They needed an influencer behind them. The ones that do just had another influencer behind them. We also used to analyze every single Alex Becker YouTube video and look at exactly what tokens he talked about and at what price they were when he spoke about them in his videos. Then we put together a massive table and we saw exactly the ROI that you would have by investing in Alex Becker's recommendations. This was our most popular video here on the YouTube channel. And he absolutely crushed it. This one was 14,000% return, which if you put $1,000 in, you'd get $144,000 back. However, you don't get these crazy 1,000+% returns by investing in anything in gaming. You want to know which ones the big influencers were recommending in order to maximize your gains. And the same thing is happening this time around. Something like Pinlink, which absolutely took off, had the right influencers behind it. And being somewhat of an influencer myself, a really small influencer, the difference between my channel and everyone else's brand is I don't claim I'm an expert. I'm actually not an expert. I like to be more of the journalist. We like to go see what the experts are doing, what the experts are buying. I think I'll show you one token that I really like. But again, I learned it from another expert in the field. It's not my call. I'm no longer out there analyzing the top 1,000 tokens because I know it's way less profitable than just finding the people with massive influence, knowing which tokens they're either sponsored by or they have a strong affinity for before they promote it to their audience and then jumping in. And I think the further along we get in this bull market, the more obvious it's going to become. And every single bull market in the future is going to be more and more obvious that this is exactly what is happening. But you can see Pinlink's had a monumental run up from obviously 1 cent when it came on the market up to $4, or from 4 cents down here up to $4, which is a 100x return. Why? They partnered with the right people. I'm going to show you in a second which tokens are partnering with the right people. But let's have a look at one more example of this, because this is one of the best examples here. This is Axie Infinity, one of the first crypto games. And the gaming run was massive, guys. Tens of billions of dollars were made in the gaming run if you knew when to sell. If you switch this from price to market cap, you can see Axie Infinity reached a $9 billion market cap. And that's not fully diluted. Fully diluted at the time was about a $44 billion valuation at its peak. And you're like, okay, sure, it was a first mover game. And yes, people could make money by playing it. And there were big Axie syndicates, and everyone was really bullish on Axie. It had tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of players. And it's really well made. It's even better now, but even back then, it looked okay. But it was still a two-dimensional cartoon graphic. And if it didn't have crypto built in, it was just an iPhone app, you'd be shocked to think that it was valued at $44 billion. Because what are we referencing this to? Just because it's an amazing game, it's currently valued at $500 million. That's still an amazing valuation for a game like this. So doing any fundamental analysis, trying to figure out what these tokens are worth, is useless in this space. And even recently, this is Charisma Deficit on Twitter, says, your influence is getting unhealthy, Peter. You said in your TD video, I don't know what that is, but I guess it's a YouTube video, that you would talk about Quai, which is a new token. I believe it's a layer 1 that's popping up. Peter from House of Crypto said that he would be talking about this token in his next video. People, smart people, were like, well, great. I'm going to front run that because he knows that the audience tomorrow is going to see it then. I'm going to get in earlier. And you can see Quai rose 60% in a few hours. Fundamentals were the same. Technicals were the same. But just because they had an influencer, Peter from House of Crypto, who's been absolutely crushing it recently, said that he'd be promoting in the future, the token skyrocketed. And so literally my conclusion to this is, 1, I'm down to play the game. You just have to know what game you're playing. Don't be fooled into thinking you're investing in revolutionary infrastructure. Although I do believe, let's just get this straight, I do believe this is revolutionary infrastructure. I just don't believe that it's going to be valued into the tens of billions of dollars for a long period of time. I think we're going to touch that point, and we probably going to want to get out as soon as we do. But I'm remaking all of our software and all these new tools to better suit this new thesis of mine that everything is just simply narrative trading. So we're looking at people who had the best track records, not just because they have the best track records, but because people know they have good track records and therefore they have a strong influence on tokens that they pick now. And then of course, just people with massive audiences that trust them that are going to be getting brand deals or finding tokens, someone like Alex Becker, someone like CryptoGodJohn, someone like Elio Trades, because they are self-fulfilling prophecies. And we want to move up this narrative cycle to the 100x zone. So every tool that I'm using, every piece of software that I'm using now is basically trying to walk us as a community up that narrative zone. We're using Telegram bots that literally show you when these top influencers are following new people on Twitter or new projects on Twitter, because that's how you know they might be in talks with them doing a brand deal, or should we call it a partnership or an advisor role, because you know that they're going to be promoting them in the future. Even we got Elio Trades, we got CryptoGodJohn Tracked, and all the big dogs who can move the markets. The other thing we're doing as we get access to more and more deals is we're looking at the deployer wallets of new projects, because if a new AI token comes out and we can see they've sent a 1% of the supply to Alex Becker, 0.5% of the supply to the Wealth Group boys, and maybe 0.5% of the supply to Elio Trades, we're like, this is a token that I would like to get behind because it has influence behind them. Exact same project, exact same fundamentals, could look phenomenal, but if they don't have the right influencers on board, they're going to perform a lot worse. There is one thing I'll mention now in the middle of this that is going to change this a little bit, so it'd be good for you to factor it in. At the moment, Bitcoin search volume is at the exact same place as it was when Bitcoin was $16,000. Mainstream normies are not here yet. And you're probably one of the first 1 to 2% of people in this crypto cycle. There's going to be 50x, maybe even 100x the amount of people that are currently here with us coming in. And that massive wave is, in our books, called exit liquidity. So at the moment, we've been crabs in a barrel, sort of like zero-sum game trying to pull each other down. But there are trillions of dollars that are going to enter the market as soon as Bitcoin breaks that 150K, as soon as ETH breaks that 10K, and as soon as these tokens go parabolic and everyone tells their friends how much money they've made. Things can go a lot higher, but again, it's not based on fundamentals. It's based on more people hearing the story and the narrative in the future. So the earlier you can get into these stories and narratives, the more money we will make. And so on top of deployer wallets and on top of Twitter followers, we track influencers' wallets, we track influencers' portfolios, and we track their social media and replies to see if any new projects or any old projects with lower market caps are in the cannon, ready to be shot all the way out to the rest of their audience. And for example, right now we know CryptoGodJohn is trying to turn, this is going to be a little bit of a facetious tweet, but we do know he is looking for a new cook. And he says he's trying to invest $200 to make generational wealth in the next 4 to 6 weeks. What should he ape? And again, yes, he's probably joking a little bit, but CryptoGodJohn has been known to find half a dozen to a dozen 100x tokens over the last couple of years. And all we need is one of those. And all we need to know is when he's buying in and try and get as close to that time as possible for ourselves to maximize his gains. Now, where does this all lead me? Well, Marat has this talk, Token 2049 in Singapore, talking about how altcoins are on the downtrend and meme coins are on the uptrend. I'm not going to fully explain it in this video. I have other videos on my channel explaining it, or you can go watch this exact presentation. And so even though I like to play the altcoin game, because I think I have a huge, unique advantage in the market where I can become first to hear about these narratives and therefore make another 7 figures or so. More than 50% of my portfolio is currently sitting in meme coins. The number one meme coin I talk about all the time on this channel is the SPX 6900. Lovely bounce right here back up to the 800 million fully diluted level. And I mean, I made so many videos on this channel talking about it at the 280 to the 300 mil range to a lot of resistance. But no, we have absolutely bounced. And again, I'm not going to go too much into detail on the specifics of this token. This is my number one holding. Maybe I'll do a future breakdown. But if you want to see the person, Murad, who I've basically copied this thesis. Again, I'm not the expert. He put out an hour-and-a-half video, 150 reasons why the SPX 6900 will reach 1 trillion in market cap. I believe he owns about 20 million US dollars worth of this token. So just like I said, there's going to be a tidal wave of about 100 times the amount of people than there currently are in crypto coming in spending trillions of dollars. I believe that they're going to be able to understand and access meme coins than if they're talking about an AI agent utility token. It's going to be a lot harder. Where they cross over, however, and they have sentient memes, I'm also a big bullish fan of. So how I'm playing this market and how I strongly urge everybody to factor into their strategy is make sure you have the tools and the information to get narratives as quickly as possible. That's the whole point of our inner circle, which is way quicker, obviously, than this YouTube channel by the time a video drops. Normally, a token's probably already done 50% of its gain. So if you're not part of our inner circle, the link to that is in the description below. We have a brand new software, which I'm excited to reveal to everybody, launching this week. So jump in if you're not there already. And secondly, I urge you to study SPX 6900. There are over 100,000 users who are really passionate and who are going to be out there advertising on your behalf for the rest of this bull cycle. And to me, I saw Housecoin, which is like, oh, houses are getting too expensive, but you can't buy a house anymore, but you can buy Housecoin. SPX 6900 is a contra trade to traditional finance. Who wants the S&P 500? Only buy that if you want to be Standard & Poor. There's only 500 S&Ps there. There's way more S&Ps in the SPX 6900. And I just think this generation of people are laughing at a 10% return, and they're going to be strongly connected to something like SPX 6900. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you not agree? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.